Hello, good morning. Can you hear me?
Go on.
Yes, yes.
Hello, good
Yes,
morning. Can
yes,
you hear me?
yes.
Okay, good. There is some echo, but
If you are not using your headphone or earphone, that's the reason.
hello. For some reason, I'm not able to share content.
1 minute, ma'am, 1 minute.
Yeah. Please let me know when I can start. I think my time has started now.
Coming together is the beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. A very warm good morning to all. I wholeheartedly welcome Ms. Rashmi Yadav, the chief guest of the day, Reverend Father Dr. Paul Kaitotungal, the executive director of Naipunya Business School and the principal of NIMIT, Reverend Father Asin, assistant executive director of NBS, Dr. Jacob PM, the director of NBS, other invited guests, faculty members, and all registered participants to the live webinar on the topic Customer Centricity in Sales by Ms. Rashmi Yadav and organized by Naipunya Business School. I now invite Ms. Nayana S., the Assistant Professor at NBS, to introduce Ms. Rashmi Yadav, the speaker of the webinar, and to invite her for the same. Ma'am, please.
So very warm good morning to one and all assembled here, and I'm happy that most of the participants have started logging in and have joined for the event. And many of you are going to draw great insights from this webinar indeed. Today, the speaker of our day is Ms. Rashmi Yadav. She has been in this IT industry for the past 23 to 24 years. She has been with TCS and currently she is with Accenture Germany. TCS and Accenture, as all of us know, are global leaders in IT services solutions, providing business solutions, digital transformations, etc. I know Rashmi for the past 24 years, and of knowing her as a multi-talented person, a very warm friend, and a remarkable leader, and also a very gifted and well-known singer as well. Many of your youngsters, like students, working professionals, faculties, and even my own colleagues are here. And I'm sure that Rashmi will share her thoughts and stories from her experience, and definitely we all are going to benefit from this live webinar on customer centricity on sales. So I welcome Rashmi, and as well as I thank Rashmi for accepting our invitation to spend the time here today with us. And over to you, Rashmi.
Thank you, Nana. Hi, my name is Rashmi. And first of all, thanks, Naina, for giving me this opportunity and inviting me to this forum. I also want to thank each one of you who have logged into this webinar. And I hope I do justice to your time, right? We have 30 minutes together, so I'll get started right away. As Naina mentioned, I have been working in the technology industry for the last 23 years. I have a Kerala connection. My parents live in North Parur. Me and my husband currently live in Munich in Germany. Munich is in the south of Germany, and it is well known for its historic connections with World War II. It is also in the lap of Alps mountains, so nature is also a very important theme here. From a professional industry perspective, Munich is also the hub of auto manufacturing, um, because BMW, Audi, these cars are actually manufactured here. So pardon me if there are a lot of car examples in my speech today. I wanted to talk to you about customer centricity because I started my career as a IT programmer in Tata Consultancy Services in 1996. And as the industry grew, India and India-based IT companies made a lot of name for itself. Today, we don't have to talk about the strength of India as a provider for technology services. That's a given. But in the years when this was building up, many of us who knew the core business had to be trained to be the salespeople of these services, because we brought in the culture of India, the knowledge of what we do, and we had to sell these services to the potential buyers. Most of them who would have never seen India or understood India. So I have gone through the whole learning curve of selling through experience and internal organizational trainings, etc. In my whole career, last 15 years or so, I've been associated with selling. Naina, just let me know, you can all hear me fine, right?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Good, okay. So in this last 15 years, I have actually worked in different countries. So almost 7 years, I was in US, in Switzerland, Netherlands, UK, and 10 years now in Germany. So in the last 15 years, when the whole sales experience I have built, I have learned that, um, the importance of understanding and connecting with the buyer or the customer as a person. People come from different cultures, from different backgrounds. The buying patterns, the buying mindset is very different. So I thought this might be a good and useful experience sharing for with all of you. So if I were doing this session in person, I would have loved to hear your opinion about what you consider sales to be. Is it an art or is it a science? And there are different views, different thought process behind it. There is no right or wrong answer. In my opinion, science behind sales is now a very matured school of thought, right? People who have been in the selling business have documented, codified the do's and don'ts of sales, how to do, how to sell, what to sell, when to sell, etc. So this is all there. The knowledge is fantastic. It gives us a jump start in our career when we are joining a marketing or a selling job. But in the end, we are dealing with human beings. So how much ever we do our homework, and that's very important, there is also in the end an element of art. There is something that we as an individual have to experience and learn, and that is also a very interesting part of the job, that there is always a learning in this. It's not repetitive, it is not boring. So as they say, the knowledge that we get from science makes our living easier, but it is the art of life that makes life interesting. And that same goes with selling as well. So today uh, in our session together, I will briefly talk about the science, the concept, one or two, and in the end, I will share my experience, so that will also hopefully give you an insight about the art aspect of it. So the first concept is about B2C or B2B, business to customer or consumer, or business to business aspects of selling. What is important, the message is that immaterial, and I'll explain what B2C and B2B is, but immaterial of where you are in the selling curve, whether you are standing right in front of your potential buyer and pitching your sales story, or you are somewhere in the back end. Like most of us, when we start off a selling job, we are given a role of doing market research, go find out whether there is a market for this product, etc. So no matter where you are in the life cycle of selling, the key message is that we have to always think about customer as the center of the universe. B2C, or the direct selling, is the one where we all our daily life experience the selling pattern or the selling process. When we go to a restaurant, we are the customer. When we go and buy something for us, customer. And when you are making a case to your parents and asking them for money to buy something, you are the seller at that point in time. You are the seller, and you're trying to sell your business case or your case to your parents, right? So this is the most common experiential pattern that we have. And here I just wanted to highlight one example, which is with the bathing soap, right? And I hear this, especially I have heard a lot of this in Kerala, where women who don't look their age, they call them Santur mom, right? And this has become a default branding of the Santur soap. And what the brand guys did was, they knew their target customer, that women who are sensitive about their skin and maintaining themselves. That's their target customer base, and they appealed directly to that psyche, that you use my soap and you will always glow with a youthful skin. And then there is the so-called luxury brand, the Lux brand. And here, when the ad campaign of Lux, if you see, they normally get top Bollywood actresses, and you can see them covered with rose petals, and their message is about the the beauty oils, or what they have used as ingredients while manufacturing the soap. There is no right or wrong, but it's the messaging. The moment you tell the customer what is in it for you, the appeal is significantly goes up. The same experience you might also have when you go to a restaurant, right? If you get a, a focused attention, and if you get, if for example, the people who are serving you at the restaurant are addressing you by your name, they know what you like to eat, what are your preferences. you would like to go there again and again because you get warmth, you get your brain cells which are more emotional oriented. They all already start giving the spark that you are happy in this place. Um, the other paradigm of selling is business to business selling. I work mostly in this space. I sell software services to large insurance and banking customers. And many times, when the end customer comes into a bank, they don't even know who has made the software for that bank. Or when you buy an insurance policy, you don't know who is actually which provider or which IT company is actually doing the policy management of your insurance policy. So I'm working in that sector. Here, my buyer is actually a large bank or a large insurance company. I am not directly dealing with their customer, who is who are the people like you and me who are buying banking products or who have accounts in a bank or who are buying insurance policies. Still, and especially in this scenario, it is very important to always design and build solutions thinking the end customer in mind. My immediate buyer will also like it, but my product will be much more appealing and useful if it is directly addressing the customer. One example that always I quote is when we go to buy laptops or computers, you get a sticker called Intel inside. And this is a testimonial that if it's an Intel processor, it ought to be good. So Intel is currently having some troubles in their company, but still, Intel Inside is a fantastic space to be for Intel. That people recognize them, although the computer manufacturer might be an Acer or an Apple, but the branding of what has gone inside, if you are able to be there, that's fantastic. um, so especially in B2B selling, that would be my suggestion, that even in that scenario, keep your customer in mind. What I also wanted to highlight is that this paradigm of customer being the center of universe has manifested a lot in some of the popular brands that we see, and these concepts are here to stay. For example, Facebook. Almost all of us use Facebook, millions of users, but I don't know if you realize this or not, but each of us have a personalized page on Facebook. What I see, what I share, what I get as advertisements is totally different from the person living in my house itself. So that's because there is I have different friends, I have different tastes, I have different liking. So technology is enabling mass personalization of a product. And this is here to stay. All of us are consumers today, and we would like everything to be built on our taste. So if we go to buy a car, you want exactly the configuration of the car as you like it. Gone are those days when there was an ambassador and a Fiat, and you would just know which one of the two you would like to buy. So this is a trend, and this is an important aspect of the customer behavior and customer pattern. Everybody likes as much personalization and customization for their needs. The second is, especially in these days, many of us are using Amazon Prime videos or Netflix videos. Here again, what you see as the choice of programs is actually completely customized for you. There is software which is constantly taking data from what you are watching, analyzing the taste that you have. So if you normally watch criminal series or crime thrillers, then you will always get those kind of recommendations that these are the other crime thrillers you might want to watch. So this kind of um, on your TV screen, right? In your living room, the TV screen is customized for you. And there are a lot of interesting case studies and stories about this. If you are interested, please go deep dive and look at it, about how Netflix has completely disrupted the whole home entertainment industry. Google, all of us use Google, a brand which we associate completely with user experience. The fun part about Google versus its competitors of Bing, Microsoft Bing, or other search engines is the ease with in every step of the way. Google has designed that search experience totally to be easy, nice and easy and clutter free. If you have to appreciate the simplicity of Google, compare it with what you see in our normal Indian news channels, right? Our news channels are the extreme example of how not to design a screen. There is one person who's reading the main news. Under that, there is a tickering that is going on about some other news. On the left side there is an ad, on the right side there is something else, breaking news. So it is very difficult to process so many things in one screen, and that's our news channels. So actually there is also a case study about the typical, this is an Asian phenomenon that we like. There is a thinking that we like lot of information, as much information as possible in one screen. Actually, from a science perspective, that's not true. So that is also a user experience is also another thing, another dimension, which is very important when you think about customer in the center of the universe. The last quadrant, you see the logo, is actually Airbnb. Why I thought we should talk about Airbnb is, I don't know if you know this, Airbnb is a platform, a technology platform, where people who have houses or rooms, and they want to rent it out to people who are traveling and don't want to stay in a hotel because they want to stay in the village or in actual places where others live. So Airbnb brings these two parties together. So they disrupted the hotel industry. Airbnb brought a product which was not existing. They had to think through the whole thing, and they used something called design thinking. Again, this is a very popular stream of service now. A lot of creative people choose design thinking based design, creative design as a profession now. But Airbnb, iPhone, iPod, these are examples of products which never existed, and the makers had to think about the customer psyche completely on an imagination basis with test groups, etc. How they did it is also very interesting. So even in why these products became so popular is because it was easy for the consumers to consume it. Yeah. Now, as a salesperson, it's clear that we have to think always about the customer or the consumer, but who, what, why, and how is also very interesting. So something I picked up in my journey is somebody telling that, as a salesperson, what you are actually selling is a good night's sleep. That's so true. They're always, as a buyer, the buyer has a problem. It can be small, big, medium, whatever. The buyer has a problem. They need a solution. You, as the salesperson, come into the ecosystem and you say that, hey, I have a solution for you. I have a product which will take away all your problems. And if you are able to sell exactly what the buyer needed, they finish that day with a relief that I have found a solution for my problem. Actually, I'm very close to the flood situation in Kerala, right? In 2018, my parents got affected by that. What every rainy season since then brings is a lot of tension that, what about this, whether this year again there will be flooding or not. So a flood insurance is a fantastic product to sell to these kind of buyers. But there are so many different variations of buyers. Old people living alone in a house, they don't need much. All that they need is whatever they have that has to be saved. So as a seller, you say that, hey, I have a fantastic insurance product. Every month you pay this minimum amount, and I'll make sure that when the rainy season comes, I will monitor your situation. I'll send people and I will make sure that all your things are, as much as can be saved, are protected and kept safely, etc. And that then this is a good selling message for that buyer. But if a person is just having, mud houses, and you go and say the same pitch to them, for them they don't have anything to save. What they need is that when the flood comes, they need a safe place to go and stay. So knowing your customer is very important. What do they really want? What are their buyer values? What is value for them? And knowing your product. What is your product? How will it help this buyer? How is the unique selling point? How is your product different from your competitor's product? Who are your competitors? So if you look at this whole sphere of different topics, as a seller, your objective is to sell your product with as much profit that you can make from that sales, and and you want to sell more. Your selling is not a individual one transaction. You want the sale to be so successful that more people come asking for your product and you sell more. And if you look at the buyer psyche, the buyer is not having an easy way around. The buyer is also having a lot of dilemmas. The buyer is thinking that how can I get the best product at the best price in the best quality? Why should I buy from this person? Is he or she trying to cheat me? So they are also going through this dilemma. And that's where the art comes in, to understand that when you say something, is there a spark on the buyer's face? Is the buyer interested in your product, or is he still confused? And that needs the experience and the art part. And you learn that as you go through it. For me, this was difficult in some of the situations. For example, I don't know if you know this, the Dutch people in Netherlands, they are supposed to be one of the tallest set of people in the world. Their average height is 6+, and I'm like, barely 5. I'm a short Indian saleswoman coming to tell them that, hey, big bank, you signed this €1 million deal with me, and I will provide these services. It is very difficult for them to trust me and buy from me. So it is important, in my opinion, that for you to appeal, I mean, you have a fantastic product, you have a full big organization which will support you if you're able to sell this deal. All that is true. But the last point of sale is me as a salesperson. So I have to learn to first sell myself, present myself well, appeal to the customers' needs, all those homework, and ensure that the client can trust me. Good communication compared to US or UK, where English is the language. For me, in Switzerland, Germany, and Netherlands, language was also challenge, and that's why I thought I put in Achtung in German means attention. Yeah. So good communication. Most of us think that verbal or written communication, but in a sales process, your entire body, right from eyes to your hands to your body, how you conduct yourself, everything is talking, and so is from the customer. If you are able to learn the body language, that helps you a lot. And actually, during these COVID times, this is something that has hit all of us in the sales community the most, because we're not able to meet the clients like or the customers as we used to in the past. So we are doing web conferences or telecon, and we are not able to really understand the body language of each other. Third, very important is be ethical. In the enthusiasm to sell, don't lie, don't sell wrong things, and don't overcommit. Because you might do that once, that customer is never going to come back to you to buy anything from you ever. And in these days of social networking, bad news spreads very, very fast. So please always be ethical and truthful when you sell something. Empathy is another important quality. Understand, put yourself in the shoe of the buyer, and then see, then make that whole experience of buying and selling a pleasant one. Uh, don't put it on their face and say, you take it or leave it. This is my last offer. This is the best product you can see. You go and search everywhere. This will not work in our favor. And one last tip from my side would be to always deliver your promises. Being responsive sounds simple, sounds logical, but trust me, more than 60-70% of people are not responsive, or they don't get back to what they said or delivered, or they committed to each other. This happens even as a buyer or a seller. Um, um, in the end, from my side, in summary, I can tell you that, buying the last transaction, or the signing of a contract, or the last final bit of the buying and the selling process, it's an emotional process. It's a decision made by a heart, not by the head. It is also, like I said earlier, both the buyer and the seller are always going through a lot of dilemmas. And whoever can maneuver that whole process of resolving the dilemmas, be clear, be crisp, and those are the ones who finally get the deal, or close the deal. And last but not the least is the mind share. Your client or your customer, when they are buying something, they should always remember you. They have to think about you. So networking, being in touch with the customer is extremely important. And that way you also understand what the customer's real pain points are, and what they really need to, what are they really buying. So in interest of time, I stop here, and I would like to take questions from you.
If anybody has some queries to be asked to Ms. Rashmi Yadav, I request you to please type it down into the chat box.
So I should look, how is the sales pitching different IT sales? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, lot of people don't realize that, IT is not about development and coding alone. There is a lot of different aspects and dimensions. Today, there are apps, games that startup companies make and sell. So the thing is, um, in technology sales, the competition, it has become heavily commoditized. Anybody can actually make software and sell it. So there are there are different types of products, right? So what an Accenture or a TCS or Infosys, what they sell is IT services to large organizations. Even that space is so commoditized, and it's global. So we are dealing with even our own employees, different culture, different, one project is delivered from different locations. So it's a um, very long drawn process. Number one, decision making is very long because it's huge money. We are talking about millions of dollars in each deal, right? And even the buyer has a lot of organizational hoops that they have to go through. Number two, it is very competitive. I go for a meeting, walk out, next to me will be the next person from Infosys, pretty much saying the same thing, which I would have said. And then we have to look at, how to differentiate, who knows the client best, who is telling the story better, and all those things. So so the sales cycle is very long, so we have to be very patient, work on the same deal for months together. The space is very crowded and competitive, so we have to be very creative and innovative in solutioning and selling. And third is that, we have to deliver to our promises, and that's not one person, right? In a project, typically we can have up to 500 plus people also. So the whole team has to come together, and this is not like we are all sitting next to each other, we can do a team event. It's not like that. We are all sitting in different locations, even pre-corona, and we all have to have the mindset to think about the client and deliver to our promises. So it's a very different world, that way.
Okay, Rashmi, thanks. I think there is again another question. How customer segmentation is important for selling?
Very good question. So again, you said it depends on what you're selling, different products. So like I showed you in that slide with the rings, knowing your customer and knowing your product. So it is never one size fits all, kind of an approach. So if you are sure that, this is my market base, then you can improve your product, you can improve your marketing, you can improve your messaging to appeal to that customer segment. Remember, however, that as soon as you get successful, there will be three other copycats who will target that customer segment. So there is no stopping. You have to keep innovating and then either increase your customer base or you have to change your product, right? So customer segmentation is a good strategy. It is important. It is also important to be aware that this is what the business model has been. So if this is not, if it has got saturated or if it has commoditized, then you have to innovate. So that's definitely a strategy and a business model topic. I see one more question. Me to work for almost 2 decades in pharma selling. Interested to know that you've given a product benefit looking into the customer in mind. How do you get the information from your customers? Good question again. There are multiple sources. Today, everybody tries to make it a point to be on the social media. So your research will help to know what the clients are looking for. In my case, like I said, I'm dealing with large companies. So there are actually investor reports, their performance reports, etc., which we have to always go through and digest and understand. The second thing is your personal connects, not necessarily exactly with the final buyer, but even the people who are reporting to your client or people who are top to bottom. You have to build your relationship. So actually in TCS, my title was relationship manager. I was not called a sales manager, or nobody will call themselves as a sales manager, because your buyer looks at your visiting card and says like, oh, you are here to sell me something. So it is called relationship manager because you get all the insights, and what the client's real ask is from knowing that person. The better you know, the more you get insights. So a lot of homework, but yeah, if you want information, you'll always get. And then there are informal channels, like you go for lunch meetings or dinner meetings, and people talk about things which they probably might not open up in a formal selling process. So there are a lot of channels, but very important to get this. And perseverance, right? You have to keep meeting them again and again until you get what you need. And your client will not meet you second time if you're just wasting their time. You have to go back each time with something new to offer to them, so they are interested in speaking with you. What do your customers look for? Give me a hint that, if I'm able to answer your question to your point or not. You can ask me more detailed questions. What do your customers look for? It is always different in different situations. I can tell you in today's scenario, maybe since 2020 and all this Corona situation, cost has become a huge topic. Everybody is looking for. I mean, I'm talking about it from my world. Huh? My world is traditionally very well-to-do organizations like Deutsche Bank or Allianz Insurance Company, these kind of clients for whom we normally think money is never a problem. They have deep pockets, but that's not the case anymore. Money has become the biggest discussion point. So they want it cheap, but they want everything that they used to get earlier. So they want high quality, they want the best product, they want the best service, but they want it cheaper, which is also an opportunity for us. It is always an opportunity. So now we are trying to innovate to how to give the same service levels at a cheaper price, which means, and I think it is true today in the current world, that a lot of work that human beings used to do earlier, machines are taking over, and everybody is using the technology that we have, like speech technology, artificial intelligence, machine learning. All these kind of technology is slowly and steadily replacing human beings, which obviously reduces the cost, and that is currently the trend. So cost is a very big topic. Other thing, I don't know if you guys are familiar, at least in the technology industry, agile is a very big topic, speed. So gone are those days that you announce that there is this coming up new product, and it takes 18 months to launch the product. Nobody has the patience to do that. So everybody wants to launch products, especially customized, personalized products, very fast. And for that you need to quickly turn around things, which actually is also a problem for large companies, because the startup companies or smaller companies who have small specific products, they are the default go-to guys, because they can deliver fast. You don't need to move an elephant. They are much more nimble. So that's what is happening in our industry currently. How do you evaluate the Indian versus other country salespersons by behavior? Again, a very relevant question. My experience, there is no, I don't think there is a lot of literature about it. I believe that the mindset, Indian people are more appealing and we are more successful to appeal to the emotional part of selling. We by default are people oriented culture, so we normally we are very passionate, so we are always and for us success or failure, that's very binary because we are probably coming from such a competitive landscape growing up, right? Getting into college, getting into schools, we are always very competitive, so we put our life into winning a deal. But from a client consumer perspective, we appeal to their emotional side. I have seen, especially the German people, they are more structured. There is a game plan. They draw it all, and they'll say that okay, first step is this, second step is this, third step is this, and they go by that structure. We are very haphazard. We will go to the first meeting and think that, oh, this guy likes Indian food. Let's take them to the Indian restaurant and take. So we are always looking at the softer aspects of selling. This is not to generalize. I have also seen fantastic analytics based selling, and that is also a strong point of Indians, that we are very mathematical and analytical. We are not so structured, but we are very analytical. So we quickly look at data points, and that's also in our favor. But it is very different. Our selling behavior is different culturally. There is something called brand image. Oh, okay. That's the question. Behavior, brand image, company image, performance experience. Yeah. Any key opinion leaders for your type of selling? Sorry, I'm not understanding the question. Any key opinion leaders for your type of selling? Could you help me understand this question, please? I'll go to the next one in the meantime. To what extent is unethical business in the industry? See, there are a lot of these stories, the Wirecards and Lehman Brothers, that are there in the newspaper about companies doing unethical businesses in that scale. But I would also say that, you know, in small doses, people people lie, people do unethical practices, people take other people's sales pitch or leverage relationship in the client organization to see what the competitor is trying to say and incorporate into our pitch. All these things happen to some extent. They say everything is fair in war and love, but in business to business, you have to be very careful. One of my bosses used to always say that, you know, don't do anything stupid, and that is sufficient. Our brain, our conscience will always advise that, you know, this is a stupid thing to do, don't do it. And don't do it, because in the end it's not worth it. At some point or the other, the whole balloon will blast, and then you will be in the wrong side of things, and that's not sustainable success. You might get here and there something, but you can also be smart and do the right thing and be successful. So why not take that path? How can Naina ping me when I'm out
I
of
guess.
time?
Yes. There is one more question I see. I think you can see that high street brand or regular
Yeah.
stores can compete with online retailers like Amazon in maintaining employees and cutting costs while providing product affordability.
Yeah, this is a very chicken and egg question. I think there is no straight answer, because lot of lot of the consumers, people like us, used to be against Amazon. I mean, my reasoning about not buying online retail was that, you know, they come with so much packing, and this is a natural environmental wastage and all. But today, in today's situation, I am also an active buyer from the online retail stores, because that's the only option. There is somebody coming and delivering at the doorstep. That's the only thing that's going to work. So these disruptions will exist, and there is no business model that will continue forever in its own way. What smart companies do is they also innovate. They also change to the changing times. So there is a book called Built to Last. There, the brands that you see have been there for so many years are only there because they have constantly changed their strategy, changed their customer segmentation, changed their business model. So Amazons in the world will stay, and you can pray that if you don't like them, then you can probably wish that they go away, but they won't. Uh, but they will also improve. They will find better ways to serve their customers, and the traditional stores will also have to change and innovate.
Okay, so I think I don't find any more questions coming up, so maybe we can move to the next part. So I call upon Akhila to continue.
Thank you, ma'am.
So
I now invite Anu Zara John to propose the vote of thanks.
Good afternoon to all. I deem it a great honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this special event. First and foremost, I thank our special guest and speaker, Ms. Rashmi Yadav, Acquainter leader in Germany, who despite her busy schedule has found time to grace this webinar on customer centricity in sales. The section was very informative, and with the real-life examples, you made the section more easy to understand. And we were really happy to hear you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
thank you.
We are grateful to Reverend Father Dr. Paulachan Kaitotungal, Executive Director of NPS and Principal of NIMIT, for all the support for conducting this webinar. Thank you, Father. I thank Reverend Father Verghese Asin, Coordinator of NPS, for his encouragement and all the support. Thank you, Father. I thank Dr. Jacob PM, Director of NPS, for his support, vision, and commitment. Thank you, sir. I thank Ms. Naina, Assistant Professor of NPS, for conducting this webinar with Ms. Rashmi Yadav, which was very informative. Thank you, ma'am, for conducting. My heartfelt thanks to Dr. Sabu Verghese and all other faculty members of NPS for the valuable contribution, guidance, and encouragement in all our efforts. I owe special gratitude to the IT department, Shaju sir and Sanit sir, for rendering all the support to ensure that this event becomes a success. I thank all the distinguished invitees present here accepting our invitation. And also, I thank all my friends for your cooperation in making this webinar a resounding success. Once again, I thank everyone for your attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Anu. I also inform that the feedback forms about this webinar will be available on the mail, and once you submit these forms, the e-certificates will be provided through the mail. Once again, thanking each and everyone, I'm concluding this webinar. Thank you.
Yeah, the feedback form is actually put up on the chat box. So please fill up that feedback form so that your certificates will be sent to your mail. I thank all the participants who have attended. Very happy to be associated with you. We'll associate with you again in future. And I also thank Rashmi for sparing her time for us. Thank you, Rashmi, and happy meeting you.
Thank you. All the best to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.